Hello and welcome to Figure Skating Mess. Now that both Russian Nationals and Russian Grand Prix has come to an end, I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to go through these competitions and predict which female skaters from Russia would have gone to Europeans and Worlds if Russia had been allowed to compete internationally this year. And I will also finish off this video by commenting on the skaters who unfortunately have been too injured to compete this season. What are they currently up to and are they likely to do a comeback? But without further ado, let's begin with the winner of Russian Nationals 2023. 15-year-old Sofia A, coached by Adelia. Sofia performed a beautiful triple axel in the short program, however she fell on it in the free, but instead she managed to do 2 quadruple toe loops, even if they of course was with full blade takeoff. So she had several Ultra C elements, although I did find her programs quite forgetful because they are very reminiscent of other athletic programs. They are kind of like copy pasting nowadays, so it wasn't really anything that stood out to me and was memorable, unfortunately, which of course isn't Sofia's fault but rather her coaches. And while speaking of her coaches, they didn't look satisfied at all that Sofia won. They were stone-faced, especially Daniela Glickenhaus, like, at least try to smile for Sofia's sake. It was very obvious that they wanted Kamila to win, which is very reminiscent of the Aliona Eugenia situation from Olympics 2018, where Adelia was immensely disappointed that Aliona won instead of Eugenia, despite both of them being her students. However, despite winning Russian Nationals, Sofia wouldn't have been eligible for Europeans nor Worlds even if Russia were allowed there, because you have to have turned 15 before the 1st of July that season in order to compete as a senior internationally. And she's born 1 week too late, which is the greatest tragedy of her life. But I hope she's very happy by this victory at least, and that she can celebrate it despite her coaches not wanting her to win. They wanted Kamila Valieva, who came in 2nd place, and we have a lot to unravel here. Let's begin with how the season has been looking for Kamila so far. She hasn't at all been in the same shape that she was last season. In the Grand Prix events, she only performed 1 Ultra C element per competition. That was a quad toe, under-rotated and with a fall at both competitions. And at Russian Nationals, she attempted to do a triple axel in the short at least. However, it was popped to only a single, earning her 0 points. Yet she still managed to place 4th in the short program because she was given insanely high PCS and GWs on all her other elements. So she was placed before other girls who arguably had way better outings at that competition. Ksenia, who I will talk about later on this video. She had a wonderful short program. But back to Kamila. In the free skate though, she had a great comeback. She performed 2 clean quadruple toe jumps, which was the biggest toe loops I've ever seen her do, so really impressive. Although it makes you wonder, what was it that made her be able to do those kind of jumps when she definitely wasn't anywhere near landing them only a month ago? And isn't that a fitting segue over to her doping allegations? We all know that during the Olympics, it came forward that she had tested positive for doping at Russian Nationals exactly 1 year ago. And since then, the Russian doping agency RUSADA has done their own investigation, where their announcement was that there wouldn't be an announcement because she was too young when it happened. Which means that they definitely found the B sample to be positive too, because if it had been negative, they would for sure have taken that opportunity to scream all over the internet and put it on billboards all over Russia that the evil West had falsely accused this innocent, beautiful, talented young girl of doping and broken her spirits. And since they didn't do that, means that they didn't have such an opportunity because it is positive, the B sample too. Now the case has been taken over by WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, and they have suggested a 4-year ban for Kamila. 4 years. Still, despite Russia being acutely aware of Kamila having taken illegal substances, they have let her compete both at their national Grand Prix and at Russian nationals. And you can say all you want that it was just a trace amount 1 year ago, it doesn't affect her now. Well, the fact is that, first of all, this is the only time she's been caught doping. She might have taken it on several other occasions too, but most importantly, when you take illegal substances or like performance enhancing drugs during training, it is to make you be able to do more repetitions, to train more. And when you train more, it makes you perform better at competitions. And that sort of training, like, it gives an effect even now because everything is built on each other. Furthermore, the rules are if you have been tested positive for doping, you are banned from competitions during the investigation, and you should also take a punishment later on with a ban for cheating because, well, it is cheating, you have to have a punishment for that. And the fact that the Russian Figure Skating Federation still lets her compete means that they give absolutely zero fucks about clean sports. And since they doesn't seem to think that Kamila having been doping is a big deal, it means that doping is normalized in Russia. Otherwise, they wouldn't think it was fair that she would be competing against their other skaters. But maybe they know that many more than her is doing it, and it was only Kamila who was unlucky enough to get caught, which is a very depressing thought. But when you think about it, like, no skater from Russia has spoken out about this. No one has criticized Kamila for being able to compete. So what else could it be? And personally, I think letting Kamila compete is a massively unstrategic move of Russia, because if she had, been allowed to sit out this season, not competing, she would have probably most likely been facing a less harsh punishment, because then, the WADA judges would have thought, oh well, she's already faced some consequences and she was a minor when it happened, let's give her maybe 1 year ban or something like that. But now, when she has faced literally zero consequences for her actions, I think they are gonna be much harsher on her, and she will probably get that 4-year ban. And I also think this will make it harder for Russia as a team to come back to international figure skating, even when the war is over and they are allowed to compete in other sports, because this shows that Russian figure skating allows someone testing positive for doping to still compete. And they are not only allowing her to compete, they are also making her the star of the season. The judges are giving her the highest scores in PCS and so on. So if Russia doesn't respect the rules of fair international sports, why let them back on the international stage, in all honesty? And personally, I am very concerned about what's going on there currently, because I don't know if there are still international doping tests there, if they aren't competing internationally, and if there aren't any tests, people are probably taking even more illegal performance-enhancing drugs than usual because now they don't have any fear of getting caught. And the type of advantage you get from those drugs, they don't disappear even if you stop taking them when you are allowed back on the international stage. So I think when they are allowed back, they should also have at least a year or maybe 2 of, doping tests. And even more than usual, more than other skaters, since we know that now that doping in Russia is in the system and it hasn't disappeared despite the consequences they have faced of, not competing under their own flag and so on. Like, it's just a whole mess, really. And I would just wish for Russia to get their shit together and just stop cheating because it's ruining sports. And I want Russia to be in sports because they are very talented, and would have been very talented too, even if they didn't cheat, but maybe not as dominating as they have been. But let's move back to Kamila. Her international career is basically over because she will most likely face a lengthy ban, maybe even 4 years, and when she's allowed back, she will be around 20. And I have said it before, I will say it again, no girl coached by Daria has ever competed when they are 20. And honestly, it's such a shame for her that her career is over because she's such a talented girl. She has great flexibility, amazing spins, nice artistry and musicality. And if she would have been coached by someone who wouldn't have made her take doping to burn too brightly, too quickly, she would have been a big star in figure skating for many, many years. But now we only got to see her for like half a year instead of a decade. And just imagine what she could have created staying in a sport for a decade instead of half a year, because we know she is very entertaining on ice. In the exhibition at Russian Nationals, she performed our Wednesday Addams program, and it was excellent, honestly. It went viral because, well, everything related to Wednesday Addams goes viral, which is understandable. I am obsessed with the series as well, but it was a very strategic move to do a Wednesday Addams program because the series is so popular nowadays, and Kamila herself even admitted that the goal was to go viral, and they succeeded. Even US media reported positive about it, which several people in the skating world thought was a very insensitive thing to do. And personally, I'm not really disappointed that they reported about it, but rather that they didn't mention at all that Kamila is the one who was caught doping during the Olympics, and that she's the reason nobody still has gotten their team medals from there. And on top of that, she has said that her favorite day was when she met Vladimir Putin, and that was after he started a war against Ukraine, killing thousands of innocent people, forcing millions to flee their own country. So I think that sort of information is very relevant to news about her, but that seems to be overshadowed by her just doing a Wednesday Addams program, which was precisely their goal. But let's move on to the woman in third place, or arguably in second, since Kamila shouldn't have been allowed to compete here. By the way, I am curious if Kamila is going to get stripped of her medal here, because WADA has stated that she should be stripped of every medal she has won since that positive doping test, and that includes, well, Russian nationals from last year and this one. And I think they have the power, obviously, to do that at Europeans and Olympics, but do they have the power to do that at national competitions? I don't know. Interesting, but arguably the one who got the bronze deserved a silver, and that was Yelizaveta Toktamisheva, also known as the Empress. She came, she saw, she conquered, nailing all of her 3 triple axels. And I find it so amazing that she's 26 years old and this is her 15th Russian Championships, while the winner of this Russian Championships, Sofia A, is only 15 years old now. Like, Sofia was barely born. She was an infant when Liza did her first Russian Nationals. And Liza hasn't taken a medal in Russian Nationals since 2015, 8 years ago, and you could see how much this meant for her. And I'm honestly so proud of her for continuing her career and fighting despite so many younger girls dominating the sport from Russia, and her commitment has paid off. And if you look at how her season has been so far, she would have been the main Russian lady this season if she would have been allowed to compete internationally. Because not only is she the best senior lady at Russian Nationals, she also won both of her Russian Grand Prix events, where she also nailed all of her 3 triple axels. Like, she has landed 9 out of 9 triple axels during the season. That is wild. So she would for sure have been sent to Europeans and Worlds and would have had great chances of medaling there, and she would, I think, especially have been the biggest star in the Russian team, because all the other ones who would have been sent to big competitions are first year seniors. So Liza would be the only one who was well known and had a fan base to begin with. And she also has pretty nice programs this season. Her short program is just good vibes. She's feeling good, I'm feeling good, everyone's feeling good. And her free really grew on me here at Nationals. Before, I found it a bit boring, but something clicked here. She was very seductive and had nice hand movements, and as usual, she has loads and loads of charisma, and her dress is lovely. That rose cut out in the front and then the rose in the back's like a genius little detail. And I just feel like the Empress has the worst timing in figure skating history. Like, she has been eligible for 3 Olympics and she hasn't been sent to a single one of them, despite having a very successful career. 2 world medals, 2 European medals, 14 Grand Prix medals. She just has bad timing with her Olympic seasons. She isn't at the top except for, last year, and she would have gone to that Olympics if Kamila's positive doping test had been found just a week earlier. Like, Liza truly is the queen of bad timing, while Aliona is the queen of bad luck. And I will cover more about poor Aliona later in this video, but let's move back to Russian Nationals and the girl in 4th place, or arguably the one who should have won the bronze medal. That is 16-year-old Sofia Muravyova, who almost had a flawless short program here. She nailed her triple axel but fell during her step sequence. And in her free, she unfortunately fell on her first triple axel, but then managed to land a triple axel double toe in combination. And Sofia for sure is also someone who would have been sent to Europeans and Worlds, since she is the second best senior here, and she has also done pretty good at the domestic Russian Grand Prix too. And I do hope we will see her when Russia is let back internationally, because she is an interesting skater according to me. She has this musicality that comes very natural to her, and I think she can make it when she's older too, because she isn't coached by Daria Maia, and Evgeny Plyushenko seems to want that his students to last longer. We'll see how it goes, but I'm rooting for her. Then in 5th place we find Adelia, who is coached by Daria Maia. And first of all, she has the cutest short program this season. Like, she is lip syncing in French to Voila, and it's adorable. And honestly, the only good program that has come out of the Adelia camp this season. Like, this is great, and it really suits her because it has this young, very light and positive feeling about it. While her free skate, the music is atrocious. I didn't know what they were thinking. Just stop it, it's horrible. But let's speak about the competition itself. In the show program, Adelia performed a triple axel, which is new for her this season, although it doesn't look like a triple axel to me. It doesn't seem to have enough height to it, but when you slow it down to 0.25 speed, you can see that yes, there are 3 revelations in the air. She just spins insanely quick. Further down the program though, she fell on her triple lutz, and in the free skate she fell on her signature quad loop, which more became of a over-rotated triple loop. However, she came back and performed 2 clean quad toes. So she still managed to be the 3rd best senior at this competition, so she would most likely have been sent to Europeans and Worlds, especially since neither Liza nor Sofia are coached by Adelia, and of course Russia must send someone coached by Adelia. Anything else would have been a disgrace, and right now Adelia is the only senior anterior girl. All the other ones are too young, too injured, too doped, or have left her. Otherwise, this season has been a bit up and down for Adelia. She did win her first Russian Grand Prix, but she had to cancel on the other one because of an injury. And it also seems to me that she doesn't feel comfortable with her coaches. There seems to be a bad vibe between them. I really hope she is leaving them for the next season because she doesn't seem to enjoy herself, and if she wants to have a career, she has to leave them. She's already injured. It's only gonna get worse if she stays with the Teddy, and I really want to see her in senior competitions. She has such lovely charisma, and maybe she could also change citizenships since she is of Armenian heritage, and that would be an opportunity for her to still compete even if Russia are banned from international competitions. Let's jump down to the girl in 8th place. That is the lovely Ksenia, my darling. I am delighted to see that she was continuing single skating. She wasn't at test skates, and I didn't know what was going on with her. But at the Grand Prix, the commentators said that she was apparently trying out pairs during the summer, but decided to continue with single skating, which I am ever so thankful for, because this girl is simply a delight on the ice. She's like a princess with the way she moves her arms with such tenderness, and she has nice edges and technique, but that isn't recognized by the Russian judges at all. When you look at her PCS, she's way behind the Italian girls, and even slightly behind some other girls too, which, at least to me, she has way better artistry than them. And if she would have gotten the PCS she deserves, she should have placed in 6th instead of 8, according to me. And I sincerely hope she can switch to another country, because she's never gonna get any recognition from the Russian Federation since she doesn't have any Ultra C elements, and they have so many other insanely talented girls, and that would really be the only way for her to compete at big events. You know, even if Russia is left back, she's never gonna get those spots probably, and I want to see her at those big events because, as you can tell, I'm a big fan of her. I think she's lovely and really like a precious diamond that doesn't really get appreciated enough. But let's jump down to the girl in 10th place. There we find poor Sofia Samodelkina. She didn't have a good nationals at all. She did 2 triple axels, one of them with a step out and the other one with a very, very weird landing. She also fell on her quad salcho, which was downgraded to a triple salcho, and she also fell on her triple flip. And her season has been very uneven too. She has altered amazing programs with terrible outings. So she has a very high best level, but she unfortunately hasn't been stable. But I hope she can come back better next season. Because I think she has evolved, at least with her artistry this year, and I think her programs are working for her. That was everything I wanted to cover on Russian nationals, but I would also like to chat a bit about those who unfortunately couldn't be there. First of all, Alexandra Trusova, who did compete at Grand Prix, and she should have been here at nationals, but she came down with a fever, which she had to verify on social media that she indeed had a fever of 39.4 degrees Celsius, because Russian media thought that she was just faking it and she actually was just too afraid to compete because she wasn't in shape. Truth is that yes, she hasn't been in good shape. When I saw her at Grand Prix, I wanted to take her off the ice because you could see that she was in pain. She was very slow, and I personally think that she should have rested and healed her body this season and come back stronger the next one. She only did one quad per competition, and both of them was with a fall. And I mean, Sasha without quads, it's just not the same thing. And of course the Russian media blamed Sasha's bad shape on her leaving Italy and gaining weight, which is ridiculous because first of all she looked just as bad after the summer at test skates when she was still coached by Daria, because the reason she's actually skating poorly is because she has been overworked and she is injured. And furthermore, when it comes to the weight, she looks like an athletic, healthy woman. She's stunning. But the Russian media expects adult grown women to look like literally prepubescent 14-year-old girls because they have forgot that women go through puberty and it isn't something that we can control. Then we have to talk about Aliona Aliona, who has now switched to pass. Dear Lord, my nerves can't handle this girl. I love her. She's a beautiful mess. But she's switching to pass while posting a photo of herself sporting yet another cast because she has once again broken bones in her hands. She is leaving single skating because she is too injured. And I mean, pass is a sport when you get even more injured as a woman than in single skating. Although I sort of get her switch because she probably realised that she won't ever be in the same shape that she was in her prime when she was 15, 16 and won all these medals. And I guess maybe it's not as fun when you have been that good to compete again and just not reach that same level. But when she switched to pass, she can learn new things and so on, and she seems like a person who likes an adventure and likes to just try new things, so I get it. And apparently she can already do 75% of the lifts and triple throws and double twists and death spirals, and I mean that's cool and impressive, but it's still gonna be hard to make the Russian national team because the competition is just as fierce in pass as in women's singles. And I'm personally thinking maybe switch to ice dance. No jumps, much less risk of breaking your bones even more. And you have nice edges and artistry, like it would be a perfect fit for you. But maybe that will come in another few years. But until then, I do hope that Aliona can succeed in pass. I just want to see her skate and compete again. And maybe her new partner has some connection to other countries and she can skate for that. That would be awesome too. Then we have our Olympic champion Agna Shcherbakova, who is now a TV hostess like Alina Zagitova, and I think it really suits her. Like, she's always been very eloquent and sweet and nice and articulate, and she's probably gonna continue with it because she has already won everything, and she has been extremely injured, and we all know about the expiration date. She's well past that, so this is what I think she's gonna do for the near future in her life. And speaking of injuries, we have to mention Daria and Maia, who we haven't seen at all at competition this season. We all know how Daria injured her hip very severely at Skate America last season. Such heartbreaking pictures. And I think Maia has injured her arm or something. I don't know what's going on with them. They're just disappear into thin air. I think Daria is doing some ice shows. I don't know if we're ever gonna see them compete again, and it's very disheartening to know that out of the 6 senior girls that Intere had competing last season, only one of them was healthy enough to compete at Russian Nationals this season. That was Kamila who was caught doping. I mean, that is not a good record. But that was everything for this video. I hope you liked it. Comment down below your thoughts about this Russian season so far, and who do you think would have been sent to Europeans and Worlds? And you'll see me very soon in another video where we will cover Europeans. Bye!